Helping young writers. Advice for parents. Young writers need different skills. They need to have good body control with both big and little movements. They need to be able to recognize patterns. They need to be able to talk about shapes and movements. And they need to learn the main handwriting movements, and there are just a few. Big and small body movements. Big movements involve the whole body, including the arms and legs. Good posture and balance are very important for writing, and activities like dance, football, cycling and climbing all help. Small movements involve the hand and fingers. So here are some pre-writing activities with big movements. Going round and round, jumping up and sliding down, making long, slow movements, making quick, jumpy movements, talking about the movements, and making large movements in the air using your whole arm, for example, swirling ribbons. And when you do that, make sure you're using both sides of the body. So starting off, we can work on developing letter shapes with big movements. So writing in the air with both hands, making the letter shapes, making letter shapes in sand or shaving foam. Use the read, write, ink phrase for each letter. So for example, when you're making in the air the letter C, use the phrase curl around the caterpillar. And for L, down the long leg. And you can also have a go at writing letters with your eyes closed, and that helps you to remember the shape. Here's the read, write, ink chart, and you're going to get a copy of that. There's a phrase for each letter, and the chart that you'll get will show you how to write the letter and the phrase that goes with it. So to help with developing control, here are some more ideas. You can get involved in chopping and peeling food. So look at the great control you need to take the peas out of the pod. You can act out finger rhymes. You can play with small construction toys. So that's something like Lego. You can also develop the pincer movement. So for example, by picking up and sorting small beads or sprinkling coloured sand on pictures. So anything that involves that fine control. You can use finger paints to make patterns, and you can use Play-Doh or plasticine to make fingers stronger. The grip. It is important to encourage children to use the right grip. They should be holding pens and pencils with a comfortable grip that gives good control. They should be encouraged to hold a pencil, as you can see in the picture, between their thumb and forefinger, with the pencil resting on the third finger. And froggy legs is a good way to remember this. And here's a picture of what we mean by froggy legs. So you can see the way that the fingers are held are a bit like the legs of a frog. So that's a good way of remembering. While children are experimenting with shapes and letters, it's the fluent movement that's important. The size and the neatness do not matter. What we're wanting them to do is to just form all the shapes and the letters that they make really comfortably and really confidently so that the movements flow nicely. Children will enjoy experimenting with making these shapes and letters in different ways. I'm going to talk a little bit now about left-handed children. Children should be allowed to pick up pens or pencils themselves and decide which hand they prefer. And at least 10% of the population is left-handed, so that's 1 in 10 people. For these children, you should be modelling letter formation with your own left hand. And some left-handed children mirror write, so they may need a dot on the paper to help them write left to right. They can be a bit inclined to write in the opposite direction. So just to finish off, a few key points. First of all, please remember that learning to write should be fun. It's also important to remember that it involves many skills, so it's not simple. It involves lots of different skills, and the children need to develop all of those. And lastly, please remember there are lots of things you can do to help your child.